Welcome to Brand Lover, honest, real, and lively conversations for flourishing entrepreneurs and budding business owners on a mission to cultivate a heartfelt brand that connects with their purpose-driven mission. My hope is that you walk away feeling inspired and refreshed with a weekly takeaway in your back pocket that you can apply to your life or business. You know that feeling when nothing seems to be going your way in business, like no matter how hard you try or what you try or how hard you push through, you feel like you're constantly bashing your head against a brick wall? No? Is it just me? Honestly, I have felt this so many times in my 16 plus years of running a business. It's incredibly frustrating to feel like this when you just feel like nothing is clicking into place. When you aren't seeing the return for your marketing efforts and all you're seeing are dust bunnies and crickets, and you might feel like you want to throw in the towel. I don't know how many times I've told my husband that I want to quit on a hard day, but please don't, because I just wanted to share with you today 5 things that you can focus on that help me. I thought maybe that might help you just to reset and get things back on track, because the other thing to remember is that you have the power. Your business doesn't run you, you run your business. So, oftentimes when we feel like things are spiraling out of control, or, especially when we're putting in the effort, but we're not actually seeing that effort manifest into sales or, traction on social media, etc. It's a very tricky place to be. And it's easy to just kind of spiral, keep going and keep trying harder. But even though it might seem counterintuitive, it's actually the time to take foot off the pedal. So the first tip that I have is to keep your mind strong and your heart set. Try to stay positive and remind yourself of the big vision that you have and the deeper convictions for why you're doing this, like why you're in this game that we call business. So if you're feeling discouraged, simply remind yourself why you started. Give yourself a break, like take a pause. Sometimes the answers you're seeking aren't coming because you're too busy trying so hard. And I've certainly learned that the hard way many, many times. All right, so number 2, after you've taken this step back, invest some time to reflect and analyze your recent results in your business. So focusing on things like sales numbers and website analytics, including things like how much traffic's going to your website, how many clicks you're getting, like how many sales conversions are coming through. And most importantly, in my opinion, just from the way my brain works, is customer feedback. Sometimes we're so personally attached to our business that we can't see what's actually happening. It's easy to blame this or that or the other, when perhaps the answer is a simple tweak in your customer journey or focusing on something as simple as increasing traffic to your website. Maybe there's absolutely nothing wrong with your website. Maybe there's just not enough people visiting it. Thinking about, are there certain products or packages that just aren't selling anymore? Like, the market changes so often that, sometimes there's demand for something, but then all of a sudden there's not. Are there obvious gaps in what you are offering? Is a competitor suddenly or like offering something that's filling a gap that you're not offering? And this doesn't have to be a full-on analytics review. Don't put too much pressure on it. If you're anything like me, you're not like, you don't really have the CEO brain, but if you take the pressure off it and just think of it as a walkthrough of your business, just meandering through the data that you have on hand, just let it speak to you and the right things are going to jump out. So number 3 is stay open to potentially adapting or pivoting your current offerings. Some of my most successful packages or courses or whatever that have been the most successful, I haven't really seen coming. Like the things that I know people need and try to offer them are nowhere near as popular as things people think they need. Does that make sense? You can't sell someone something they have no desire for, or they don't see a need for, or they can feel that need easily in another way. So instead of stubbornly plowing forward with offerings you're personally attached to because you're so stubbornly putting your foot down and saying, I know people need this, but people aren't buying it, why not focus on what your customers actually want? So align your offers, whether these are products or services, with the market demand. Honestly, as I said, like the market has shifted so much lately and it continues to change. This is just like the prime time for experimentation. If you stop moving, you are going to get stuck. So number 4 is to seek feedback. And this is probably the scariest thing a small business owner can do because we're so personally invested, and it is such a vulnerable thing to put yourself out there. And I do know some people that avoid customer feedback like the plague because they're scared of uncovering hard truths. Like it's a fear of the unknown. And I get it because I feel a little bit sick every time I send out a survey after running my live course. But even if the response isn't quite what you expect, it shines a light on how you can improve and what you can focus on to bring your messaging and marketing into better alignment with your offers. And honestly, we've been focusing on market research in my mastermind, the Kindred Collective, this month. And there have been some huge breakthroughs because what you think people know about your brand is not necessarily accurate. And once you realize what's missing, you can move forward to fill those gaps with confidence because you have genuine evidence that it's what's needed and what's required for you to move forward. So don't be afraid to ask hard questions, whether it's a simple survey, a feedback form, or even just a social media poll. It doesn't really matter as long as the pool of people that you're connecting with are an aligned audience. Just keep it simple. If you've noticed something slow down in sales, ask your customers why they're not buying it. Or, if you're thinking of creating a new offer, ask people if it's something that they want. And the answers might actually surprise you. And just, hold them loosely. Because as I said, if the market doesn't have a demand for it, then it's not going to sell. Okay, number 5, allow yourself time to implement your new directions. There's no point doing all of this type of reflective exercises and then doing nothing about it, getting busy again, and then wondering why nothing's working again. So never be too busy working in your business that you don't have time to work on the business, because this is when you're going to get stuck. So focus on the lowest hanging fruit to build momentum again. And for the love of peanut butter, please block out some time in your week to keep your finger on the pulse and continue progressing forward. The other thing that I should mention is coming back to your brand. Your brand is always the center, like it is the core message of your entire business. And if you're not translating your brand clearly enough through your marketing, then quite often something gets lost in translation. So I always recommend doing a brand review once a year, checking in with who your ideal client is. Is your visual brand performing? Is it still aligned with where you're going? What's the bigger picture? Why are you here? All of those things help you to stay connected to the people that you're serving and ensure that, your customer journey is seamless. So, just to summarize, when your brand hits a rough patch, as all of them inevitably do, as the market shifts and things change and you change, it's imperative to take the proactive steps that are required to turn things around. It's not something that you can put off. Reflect on what's not working, adapt your approach if you need to, seek feedback from your customers, and above all else, maintain a positive and persistent attitude. So by following these steps and staying focused on your end vision and your personal convictions, it is possible to set your brand back on track. If you found this episode inspiring or helpful, I invite you to share the link with another woman in business or someone who needs to hear this message. Every woman we can support to grow a meaningful, profitable brand is another woman who is free to live a purposeful life for herself and be more present for her family. None of us are alone in the challenges we face in business, but the solution can start with a gift from someone else, and it could be a podcast episode just like this one. Thank you for listening.